And now Chef Mattias is here in the kitchen with us. We're going to do some cooking with herbs, but the first thing I need to do is put some noodles in this pot, right?
Yes,
and
absolutely.
what are you going to do? What are we going to make first?
First of all, I'm going to make a marinated chicken with rosemary and lemon thyme. And we're focusing on herbs today, so I got a lot of herbs to use, a lot of fresh herbs.
All right.
First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add salt. So I have boneless, skinless chicken thighs that I'm using. And these are nice because they cook up easily and they're nice and moist. Add a little bit of salt, some pepper. I'm going to use apple cider vinegar. Every marinade has a vinegar component to it. Olive oil, extra virgin olive oil. I'm going to use fresh garlic. And I minced some up, so we're ready to go with that. We're also going to use some tamari, and that adds another little salt component and a flavor, a little soy flavor to it. And then we're going to use some Dijon mustard. That also has vinegar in it, and it's just a great additive to any marinade. Let me grab my little shears here. So here I have some fresh rosemary. I'm going to mince some of that up, and I'm also going to use some fresh lemon. This is lemon thyme. Very nice, fresh flavors.
And you need to chop them up, crush them up to help release the flavors?
Exactly, yeah. So I'm going to mince them up just a little bit.
It smells wonderful in here with all of these herbs.
Yeah.
This is terrific.
And when you slice them off the plant, they just let off that aroma. Just beautiful smells.
And it is amazing how just chopping that up there releases.
Doesn't it though?
So many scents. Yeah. That's wonderful.
All right. So I'm going to add that in there, and then I'm going to mix this up with my hands.
Okay.
Just to get it, into the chicken. Massage it a little bit. And then we're just going to set this off to the side.
All right, I'll take care of that
and
while you clean
let
up.
that marinate.
So while the chicken is marinating, what are we going to do next?
Okay, we're going to make a 5-herb pesto. So we're going to use a lot of fresh herbs here, a mixture of different herbs. Traditionally, pesto is used with fresh basil, right? I'm focusing on fresh today, so using as much of the fresh herbs as possible that grow here in Iowa. So
okay.
First we're going to use, every pesto has different components again. Usually has a nut component. We're using walnuts today. So I'm going to start out with walnuts. I'm using about 1/2 cup of walnuts to start us off. And then olive oil is another key component. And I'm using about, I'd say, 1/4 cup of olive oil to start us out. We can always thin that out with more olive oil later. Garlic is another key component. So we're going to use our fresh minced garlic, and I love garlic. So I don't know about you.
A heaping tablespoon
I'm going to use
garlic.
a heaping. It's probably about 2 tablespoons actually of garlic. And then we're going to add some salt to that as well. And of course, we can salt that more to taste later.
All right.
I'm going to use a fresh lemon, and we're going to just juice that.
Squeeze it in there?
Exactly. And I'm just going to hold it over my hand so I can catch any seeds that come out of it. Let's just start throwing in the herbs.
All right.
We can use, let's use some fresh cilantro. This is a beautiful herb, one of my favorites. I'm just going to cut off a chunk off of this bunch here. Put that in.
You're not being very precise about
measurements
amounts with this either.
It really, it doesn't matter for this stuff a whole lot.
Right.
Marinades, pestos. I tend to, I always have recipes in the restaurant, but for when I'm cooking, I go by taste. So after we're done, we'll taste this. We can always add whatever we need component-wise. So here we go with some. This is Italian parsley, so it's a flat leaf parsley. The other type is the curly, and we'll be adding that as well. Exactly. So I'm just rough chopping this, and I'm just going to add equal components of each herb.
Okay.
And that's about 1 cup or so loose. So if you want some measurements, I'm going to grab.
And why use both kinds of parsley?
I just want to use.
Why not?
Why not? Exactly. They have a little distinct differences in their flavors. So. And we can grow them all here in Iowa, so, why not use it? And then these are fresh chives from the garden as well. Just gonna probably use most of this down off to the side.
You want me to start getting some basil for you too?
Sure. If you want to clip off a nice chunk of that basil, we got nice fresh basil plants here.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yep.
Absolutely beautiful.
Great.
More?
Excellent. And the basil, these are nice tender basil plants, so we can use most of the stems off of those. And then we have some fresh spinach here.
Oh, terrific.
Yeah, so stuff that in there. And I'm going to turn that on, thank you. Okay, just stick it in your food processor. They're all pretty much the same. And I'm going to turn that on. Right, so see how beautiful this pesto is?
Yeah, nice and smooth,
green.
And that's what a great color.
Yeah, absolutely.
And an even better smell.
Yeah, and we're going to toss it with our penne pasta.
Terrific.
And then put some nice fresh cherry tomatoes in with it, and that's it. Nice, fresh, you know, summery type pasta dish. So, and you can eat that either hot or cold. So we have a nice, you know, this has been sitting for about 20 to 30 minutes. Perfect. And we want to oil our baking dish just a little bit. We do have oil in the marinade, so we don't need a whole lot of oil there. But olive oil you can't really overdo.
And it's nice to not have it stick
Absolutely,
to the pan.
yes, true.
That's good.
Yeah. So I'm just going to put 3 pieces of this in here. You don't want it touching each other because you want it to cook evenly. And I would say 400 without a convection oven, 350 with.
Perfect.
So,
I'll put that in the
You wanna
oven.
put that in the oven?
Of course, I'll get the
Excellent.
one we have done.
Thank you very much.
All right, wonderful. Oh, this looks wonderful. Okay. We can let that sit for a moment while we dress up a salad.
Absolutely. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make a little vinaigrette using white wine vinegar, olive oil, a little bit of Dijon mustard, and some mint that I'm going to muddle in a mortar and pestle.
All right.
So if you want to grab that for me, I'm going to use, actually this is a mixture of different mints.
A mint mélange?
Yes, there's 3 types of mint here, I believe. And I'm just going to grab a little sprig of each. And you can use any type of mint you want to. We're trying to focus on herbs today, so I'm trying to use as many as possible.
All right.
So I'm gonna give this a little rough chop here.
And then just crush it up in there.
Exactly.
All right, and I can do that while you put the rest of the vinaigrette together.
Sounds good. I'm going to use some olive oil, extra virgin. Don't need a whole lot. Some white wine vinegar. Let's use all that. Some Dijon mustard. Use some honey to sweeten it. And then a little bit of coarse salt. And then a little bit of black pepper. And then of course we'll add the muddling mix as well, and then we'll shake it up.
How far do I need to take that?
I think you got it good.
Okay.
All we want to do is kind of release those flavors in
Okay.
there. Put the lid on. Make sure it's nice and tight. Shake it up.
It's a key.
Yes. You don't want this thing flying off.
All right. Oh, actually, we're sprinkling.
Yep. All right.
All right.
Okay, I think we're ready.
Now we'll bring it all together.
All right. So we're gonna plate up the salad first. Take a little bit right there. Got our tomatoes rolling all over the place. Exactly. Okay. And take a piece of chicken to the side there. And then of course our pesto pasta.
All right.
This is beautiful, isn't it? Look at all those bright colors.
Oh, that is lovely. And again, it smells so good. that is
Thank
terrific.
you, Charity.
Chef Mattias, thank you so much.
Thank you.
This is wonderful.
It's been a pleasure.